Hello and good morning. Hi everybody, how are you doing? Riley here. I hope you're having a great day. Happy Pride Month. Um, I did some research on Cleve Backster last night. Like I said I was going to. I still haven't finished because there's actually not like a ton of research out there, so I'm a little bit surprised, but people don't really people tend to overlook plants and animals because we as humans tend to say that we are the top and nothing is like us, even though that is very, very false, y'all. But the Cleve Backster info. So here's what I remember in the morning. Um, he was experimenting with REG machines, which is the random event generator machines, but he was specifically experimenting with plants. And what he was doing is he used to work for the CIA. He was a retired CIA operative. And once he retired from the CIA, he made the polygraph machine. So he is the father and the inventor of the polygraph. So then once he got out and was like a civvy after being the CIA, he started experimenting with different things with the polygraph because he was like, hey, I made this. What else can I do with it? Makes sense, right? So he had all these plants. And so he hooked the polygraphs up to the plants, and then he would do different things with them because he wanted to study the way the electromagnetic currents moved throughout the plants. When doing this, he figured out that they respond to external stimuli, so they are actually responding to things. And he was concluding that they must have some kind of, sorry, I'm checking the time. He was concluding that they must have some kind of ESP kind of abilities. So, and these tests have been, he wasn't using really the scientific they're very contested, I suppose. There are other scientists now that have been doing things, there's one guy that's been dropping plants. I haven't looked deep into him, but there are other sciences that now are helping support his claims, but back when he was originally making his claims, the scientific world was just kind of nope, pseudoscience. But we know now, fresh cut grass, grass smells like that. You know why it smells so great, guys? It's because we're predators. It's calling predators to the yard so that we'll eat the herbivores that are eating the grass. So plants are way more interactive and smart and alive and aware than humans really give them credit for. These experiments were redone by the Mythbusters. I haven't watched that episode, but apparently when you hook it up with the polygraph, the results come back positive. They align with what Cleve Backster said. When you hook them up with an EEG, they do not. So then I had to go look up how a polygraph versus an EEG work. So a polygraph works by actually testing the electromagnetic field on a surface of something. So you have all those nodes that get put onto your skin. The reason that works is it's going through and it's actually charting the electrical current for us, you put them on places that are big pressure point kind of things, so that there's a lot of energy that goes through those channels, lots of electrical currents. Everything that is alive works on electricity. That's just science. But an EEG works by connecting directly to your central nervous system. And so it gives much clearer readings. But obviously that wouldn't work in plants because they don't have a centralized nervous system. Their nervous system is throughout their entire body. They're more if you were to analogize them to a different animal, it would be closer to a jellyfish, because a jellyfish doesn't have a centralized brain. It's the whole thing is its brain. So the EEG wouldn't work. So it's a little bit silly to me that we even attempted that. A better test, in my opinion, would be to then still use the lie detector, but then like test different stimuli, like turn the lights off. Like, is it light that they're activating to? Is it sound? Is it smell? Like, try to figure out what they're actually responding to rather than the fact that they're responding, because we already know they respond. That's just a fact. So I would be curious to see if anybody is doing more research into this, because it's actually pretty fascinating. But in conclusion, what I am coming away from this with is that more than likely, well, so a few things. So the field, I think this is going back to that 0 point energy field, which I've got to get. I was researching that a little bit last night, but it's quantum physics. I'm good with physics, not quantum. Once it reaches into the places where I can't see anymore, I'm not naturally like inclined to understand it. It goes over my head. So it, much like AI, I'm going to have to actually do deep dives into to really understand the science behind it. But effectively, I'm thinking that there are a few things that I can go with Freddy's with this. So plants, bro, we have all those glowing mushrooms in the basement. Those have been bothering the shnikes out of me, because like, why do we keep seeing glowing mushrooms, and why in Secret of the Mimic is there finally a mushroom mascot? Like, that has something, that means something, and it drives me absolutely bonkers. Like, I don't know if this is like a oh my god, Last of Us kind of game where like we're gonna find out that like the mushrooms are actually able to use the 0 point field, because that, in my opinion, is what he misunderstood from Cleve Barker's, because I'm still under the impression that the characters in these books are fundamentally misunderstanding the science that they're trying to interact with. So in Fetch, Greg fundamentally misunderstood that what Cleve Backster's, what he was studying was not him mentally changing the plants. He was studying the plant's ability to mentally change based on us. So like, it's not, yes, we are the source of the, like, we're the stimuli, but we're not actually the thing doing the action. So like, everything that Greg was trying to do was never going to work, because he is fundamentally not on network when the plants are, if that makes any kind of sense. He's like off network and they are on. And so they are able to talk to each other just like all the robots are able to talk to each other in this series. Like, we know Charlie's heads, we know, we've been told over and over again that when things are on network, they're on network for the whole scope of everything. Which I think is part of why it's so important that the Mimic is down there watching TV in the basement. Like, the Mimic is still interacting with the robots and things, even though the Mimic is not out of the sinkhole right now. So that's one thing. That's multiple things, I suppose, tied all into one. Some of the things with Cleve Backster that were kind of interesting were the plants really, really responded with, he killed a krill in the other room, or a shrimp. I thought that was really mean. I didn't like that very much. I was like, dude, you don't need to do that. But they really did not like that. So like, not only were the plants responded to him just thinking, like, I will kill you, like, I will burn your leaves. Like, they had physical responses, which doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, mean that they're responding to our thoughts necessarily. I think it might, like, and me looking into that, it started me into the stone tape theory, which is definitely like what Taggart and stuff was like researching. Taggart or Talbert, I get those two mixed up, but like, that's the idea that our words and our thoughts can have physicality in the real world, because if everything is a wave, then things that we're putting out into the world are also a wave, and waves can have impact. And so that is the more fascinating science to me, because that's the pseudoscience that could actually be real. In my lay opinion, I'm not a scientist. I'm just a girl talking in my room. But that's the stuff that really fascinates me, because like we know electromagnetics are a thing. We know electricity is a thing. Like yeah, that could be more what the plants are responding to. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this research would be much more fascinating under the lens of not, are they doing this? Because we already know plants can respond to things. You think about a plant, it curls toward the sunlight. Like, it's doing something, okay? Like, it's not just, it's got some kind of sensors. What are they? Do we know? Like, that's the kind of stuff that is more interesting to me anyway. But because we don't have answers to it, I think that is mainly it. But like the plants, the yogi thing. So like, also it made me remember that in the very first FNAF game, that phone call on night 5, that like whatever, that is like, I think it's Memoirs of a Yogi. I think I saw it in like a Gibby video a long time ago, so I'm gonna have to like look up exactly what that is. But if I remember correctly, it's like a passage about somebody like using metal as like a living vessel, but then there's also plant things mixed in there with that, like of plants having consciousness and stuff. I'm not 100%. I'm a talking head on TV. Don't always believe what I say, okay? Um, do your own research, kids. If we learn nothing from the Trump administration, it's you cannot listen to talking heads on TV. They lied to you. Believe your family and friends that tell you that they're lying to you. But anyway, that's what I have right now. I'm going to look more into it, because I think plants might have something to do with the overarching story of FNAF, because they seem to be coming up in a lot of different avenues and venues. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this, then please like and subscribe. It really does go a long way. I'm a brand new channel, so like, I feel like I'm just talking to the void right now. But I hope y'all have a good one. Happy Pride. Bye!